and this is one of the things that frustrates me between me and you, is I've been working on this since 2014, let's say, 5, 6, 7 years. I've been kind of putting the whole thing together. And many times I've reached a plateau where I've thought, this is good. Okay, but it's not right. And then I'll still be working on it next year. This is good. But there's something missing. Okay, there's something good. And it's almost without actually doing anything but recording a few songs and practicing it and trying to come up with new things. Again, I had this idea. I got it now. I put some new stuff in there. I thought it through. A whole show, a one-man show, a whole, that the book goes with it and everything. And then within the minute that I have that thought, that feeling, I almost become crushed with the weight of it, thinking that, well, if this isn't it, first off, I know it's it. Why is this other voice saying if? And then, what was I going to say? If this isn't it, but then I have to follow through with a lot of different things. And when I have to say, you know what, I need a venue where I can put on an hour-long show, and do all of this, and taking it to that next level like that. I'll go do an open mic. I'll go anywhere in the world. I'll play for anybody. But the thought of just having to not do it, I'll do it. But it's taking all those little steps, to calling people, to making the t-shirts, to editing the book again, to deciding where to publish it, to not record, but, to deal with all of that. Those little steps are like talking to somebody that says, why are you wasting your time playing guitar? Right? So I was crushed within a minute of thinking I have the greatest thing ever fucking written by me. Now I got to do something. And it was almost absolute terror.
But that's a sign that's the right thing.
How is that the sign that it's the right thing? I know you're probably right.
I just read it somewhere. It was a... I don't know the name of the author. 101 essays that will change the way you think. She put it nicely, and she said, if you're afraid of something, of doing something, that means it's the right thing. If it's a challenge, because that which you're afraid of forces you to grow, and growth is always good. It's always the right thing. So if you're afraid to go out into the wild and kill the wolf, then you have to do that. If you're not afraid of it, then you have already done it probably and know it's easy, I can do it. So you won't grow.
I'd rather go kill a wolf than try to find a venue.
I know. That's for me, like really, I've written a song about this, Wolf Slayers. It's about, for me it was picking up the phone and calling someone. Someone close to me. So I can call anyone, but the closer the person is to me, the more afraid I am of calling them on the phone.
Yes.
And that's a common psychological phenomenon.
Really?
And that for me, at some point I said, well, I've done it. I actually picked up the phone and I called and we had a nice conversation. And that was, for me, was like killing a wolf. It was really a challenge for me. But it's getting easier.
Yeah. I gotta go kill something. Legally, of course, just legally within season. I need a clean record. So here's the next thing. Let me put my thing down. I got to try to get to comfortable place here. I need a good chair to sit in. Got to sit up proper and prone.
Yeah.
Did you get it? Okay, two things. I'm going to get to the deep stuff and then the simple stuff. Okay, so here's a psychological thing, which you'll understand. And I know people that wouldn't. That's okay. So let's say I follow through, which I have to now, because this may be out to the world. Don't tell them that I'm scared about putting my stuff out there, because you got to act like you got big cojones. You edit that stuff out. I just got to say, I got the greatest shit. It's funny. I like it. So you do this, and I've read this in books. You do this. In many cases, I'm comfortable with who I am in life, even my insecurities and my failures. You become comfortable with that, right? All of a sudden, in many cases, you become a different person, right? That's this same person you have to become somebody else in a small sense to do this other stuff. That's like a thing, and people will deny that. I hate that other voice in my head, but they'll say, no, you do. You can't. Let's say you're training for a marathon or what I'm training for. I had a great week of running, and then I shut down. I went from huge runs to 11 miles a week to whatever, 5 miles in a week. And now I'm this week, and I'm like, I got to get it, because I reached this peak and I was almost afraid of being there. Right? So something psychologically in me happens that. So when you do that success, you become a different person. That's why Elvis couldn't handle stuff. That's one of the things I read. He just couldn't be Elvis, right? Kurt Cobain just couldn't be Kurt Cobain. And I'm not equating anything I do with them, but psychologically, it's like they're always putting on an act, in a sense, if you have a fake name.
Yeah.
So somehow I'm like, oh, wait, this is going to work. I don't know how to be that person that makes it work. I know how to be the person who's the dreamer, who's the worrier, who's the fretter. I don't know who to be that person. And I am that person sometimes, but you got to get there. And it's a real hurdle, even though you could get there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That shit's deep, ain't it?
So you need to kill yourself to be reborn.
Yes, in a sense, yeah. You have to be that, because you never, like we talked about this other time, you do get reborn, and you change some of your habits. You lose your friends. You say, wait a second, I lived here for 5 years and I thought it was the greatest thing in the world. Now I got to live over here and it's the greatest thing in the world. How did that happen? And it's a psychological shift for people. When you've got to need to be reborn and do that stuff. I think that's one of the things I deal with. Either that, or I just have no balls and I'm coming up with reasons not to do it.
That's Resistance. There's a book by Stephen Pressfield.
Yes, I saw one of your videos on it. The art of war, the war of art.
Exactly. Yeah.
The
it's
Resistance.
Great. Yeah.
It is great. I've given copies away to a couple people.